Hello, art buddies, and welcome to my channel, Bricolage with Pink Girly. Today, I want to talk about and use, hopefully, digitals that I have purchased. I don't know about you. You might be new to this whole new junk journaling, collaging type of art, mixed media. But if you're not, you've probably purchased some digital files yourself. I find them to be a little intimidating. I get online, I go to Etsy or wherever, and I look at all these beautiful images. And then if they've got them discounted, I'm like, whoa, and I purchase them. And sometimes I forget that I even purchased them. So this morning, I spent some time going through my digital files, getting them a little organized. And I thought I'm going to print some out and I'm going to use them. I've been watching some other YouTube channels, some a little bit more hopeful at being successful in using some. But you know what? I really haven't used many of the ones I've purchased. So they're just sitting there, right? So today I'm going to use a couple, and these are a couple different companies or Etsy shops that I purchased these from. I really don't have a particular journal in mind. So I'm just going to start creating and see where it takes me. Having a theme or an idea for a journal is probably, the better way to go. But I'm just going to jump in and see what I can come up with using these. Now, I don't have the best printer. It's just a regular printer. And to manipulate the digital files, I'm not good at that either. I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time fussing around. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things, and then I'm going to get at it and see if I can manipulate my digital printouts here to see if I can create something that I'm happy with. So this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I just brought the digital up onto my screen and then sent it to my printer. Now you'll see it's got a little tiny white border. I would prefer that it doesn't, and that I think they call it where it bleeds off to the edge, but I don't know how to find that on my printer. I've looked at all the settings and clueless. So I have several of these printed, different. I think with this digital file, I got 12 pictures. I don't have all 12 printed, but these are the other ones that I printed. I don't know if that was the same. And they're beautiful. Now, I also don't like that the back is then white. I have used white. This is a little heavier than this other paper. And I used a cream colored paper. Let's see. Now maybe I'm lying. They're cream. Okay. And these are a little heavier weight than your computer paper. So I think computer paper is like what, 20 pounds. So this is probably 24 maybe. So it's got a little more stability to it than your regular computer paper. You can use whatever you want. My husband was able to pick me up a ream of this paper, and so I'm just trying to use it up. So you can see these, I've already cut the edges and took that white border edge off, which then, of course, affects the size of what I might use as my page, right? To fold it in half or to use it. I don't want to make a journal this large, so I'm going to do something with them. So this one I still have to trim. Now, not all digital kits are created equal, so you have to look at them. I kind of jump in, look at the first or second picture, and decide, oh, I'm going to buy it. I don't look at what else is available, but some of them have cutouts for envelopes or ATC size images or tags. Some are oval, some are round, some are what we would consider a regular tag shape. So then I went into my printer and I was fiddling around with some of the other choices, some of the other printing choices. So this is, I think, supposed to be a 4x6. This was ATC size. And of course, like I said, I don't know how to manipulate them. I would love to get like 6 on one sheet of paper. Couldn't figure that out. So here I have just this one little lonely guy in the center. Then I had I had purchased this. I love the dragonflies. My friend Holly loved dragonflies. So I had purchased this, but you can see that it's two different colors here. I've got this on the cream color paper, this on white. Oh, this goes this way. And you can see these pages are a different size, a lot more of a border. This has got the rounded edges, but the color wasn't right. So then I realized that my printer needed some ink. So I replaced my ink. So this is how it should look. But this is a different digital file than the birds. So I thought birds, botanical, bugs, I could kind of make those all work together. So I don't think I'm going to use these because the color is off. And then I wanted to find some prints, some digital set that I purchased that I knew I had some envelopes. Now, some of them were Christmas. Of course, I forgot I had those, and would have been nice to realize that at Christmas time. I'm fussing with what's under my desk here, trying to get my little shelf out to rest my foot on. And so you can see the color is off here as well. So I'm not sure if I'll use these. I mean, this might work. I didn't reprint this, but when you get an envelope, this is what it will look like in most cases, where it'll show you where you need to cut it, and then you need to have fold lines so you can put it together. So I did cut this one out. Maybe I'll cut out this second one as well. So I'm just grabbing a regular pair of scissors here. Now sometimes I don't trust my hand in just folding. I want to put it on my little small scoreboard, and I'm going to see if I can make that work for me. I want a nice crease so I can fold these well. Another thing to consider if you're looking at digital files to purchase is something like this. See, I didn't realize this had that crazy edge. So this is a little more challenging to cut out. But if I wanted to, I really could probably run this through my Cuttlebug. I've got some edge die cuts that I could probably, trim out that edge and make it look a little neater. If I wanted to, I probably could even trace maybe just a round shape there, but depends on how well you cut, or how much confidence you have in yourself and trimming that out. Now, I didn't print this on cardstock because I didn't want the envelopes to be too terribly thick and heavy. So when I fold them, I'm hoping they'll crease nicely for me. So let me just for a second put these aside. Now I'm going to have to use some other paper. I have some coffee stained paper right here next to me. I'm hoping that size-wise that's going to work. I'm just going to have to see how it goes. So I've said this before in the past. I have 3 scoreboards. All right, I'm just lining this up to where it looks like I need to fold it. When I first started down this road of scrapbooking and art journaling, I thought about getting the large scoreboard. I don't think that matches up too well. We'll see. And I thought, I don't need that big one. I'll just get the little one. And then in hindsight, I realized it would be good to have the big one. And then I saw people using one that's called a Score Pal, and I thought that looked cool. And I ended up years later seeing that on a clearance rack or something, or in a Goodwill stack. And so I have 3. But I like having 3. So you may not want 3 or need 3 or feel like you need 3, but you gotta do what works best for you. So I'm just folding that up. Okay. Now on this particular file, it tells me glue here. So this little tab, once we need to fold it in. Now certainly I could have just done this by hand, but I just don't, I've got a crooked eye or something. I don't fold it that well. So that's why I use the scoreboard. And then this will come this way as I glue it. And then I need to fold my flaps down. Now I'm not sure I'm going to ink the edges of this. I might a little bit. See, now you can see here where I didn't get that completely straight. See how that's a little crooked? I'm going to see if I can zhuzh that up because I'm not thrilled about seeing that black line. And then here you can see I still didn't get it folded. See, I've got a little bit of an edge. I'm a little bit of a I don't want to say perfectionist, but I'm a little anal. So we all have little idiosyncrasies, do we not? Yeah, I like that much better. All right, now somewhere here on my desk, I have, this is my repositional glue. I don't want that one. I want this to stick. Over here I have my, you can use whatever glue you have handy. You can use liquid. You can use your dry tape. You could use your glue stick. I'm going to go with the glue stick here. I don't want any glue stick on the inside of my envelope, so I'm going to open that up. Fold them back in. Fold this up. And hopefully press it down properly. Now probably have some glue on my glass mat. It's always, I think, a good idea to have some handy wipes with some kind of a damp cloth in your work area, because I don't want any glue to get on my other papers. All right, so there I have one of my little digitals, and I think I will ink that because I'm thinking I will like that better. So now envelope number 2. So I'm just sitting at my desk, turned on the camera, and thought it might be a good idea to show some of you how I am using some digital files that I purchased. I'm trying to think of the last time I know. I have a friend that was having a baby and I made her a journal. I haven't found those digital files on my computer. I don't know where I stored them. Beautiful, beautiful. I have to look for that. Beautiful, beautiful images. But a lot of times the digital files aren't set up in my mind for how I want to use the pages. Like even the bird ones that I just showed you. Well, this didn't get very well. I didn't do that very well. There might be a little too busy, right? Too design intensive, you know. But I bought them, so I'm going to try to use them. Bricolage, trying to use what I have available. I'm trying to do a better job scoring this. Probably would be a good idea if I cleaned out my scoreboard here. It gets all little dusty particles in there. All right, so this one, maybe I'll wait. I'll fold these in first, see where I land. This one I didn't score. I didn't push it hard enough. Now, my friend Jacqueline gifted me this bone folder. And it's great. It's Teflon, nothing sticks to it. And if you'd be interested in one of those, I do have an Amazon affiliate store. I have it in my shop. I can put that link in there as well. And I've several pics of mine in my shop as well. If you're interested in what kind of things I like to use. All right. Same thing. I'm going to open my flaps. Boop, boop. And use some of my glue. Now, I tend to be a little stingy with the glue stick. So I'm trying to get better at that. So now I have blenders and I have this little finger blender dauber that I've been using. I like to watch occasionally. Oh, see, now I got that where it's not. It's just, see, I got it a little crooked. Can you see? Just a little off. So in that case, I'm going to trim it with my scissors. But stuff happens, right? And we have to step back and punt. I love this because of this edge. This end, not so much because it's so thick, but this end is a bomb. Love it. Okay, so now I like to use the Vintage Distress ink, Vintage Photo. It's my favorite. So let's just get a little blending tool. This is what I mean when I say a blending tool. These things are removable. And this, you can see the finger dauber. They kind of wear out kind of quickly. I've been peeling that off and still using it. But they are nice to do like little edges if you have a smaller piece. So I'm just going to add a little color here. Now you can see, like I said earlier, this did not print. This should be more yellow, but my inks are running out. But because there are some violets and purpley colors in the bird digital, I'm just going to go ahead and use this. Now, be careful when you ink something like this, because if I ink here, I'm going to have that flap mark. So make sure you open that up and ink it out flat, unless you want that line. I don't want that line. You also can ink like this. Let me see if I can find I have a little like inking board. And you're supposed to start out away from the edge and then kind of gently come back in. And that works nicely if you've got a thinner sheet of paper. See, it's easier to ink when it's a couple thicknesses here where we have it folded. But you could do it this way too. Now, there's a couple different ways you could ink or darken your edges. Sometimes you have to think outside the box to do that. And it depends on what kind of supplies you have in your stash, really. And if I had decided sooner rather than later, I could have inked this edge before I glued it. But I'll show you how I'm going to address that. But I'm going to use my little finger dauber. This is really starting to fall apart. But see, I'm cheap and chinchy, so I don't want to throw this out yet. So now that I have this on my finger, it's easier to come in and ink that edge that I glued. Just kind of knocks that whiteness back a little bit. Now, of course, I could go this way too, but you run the risk of smudging the top of your envelope. Could always slip a piece of scrap paper in there and do it too. That's one way to look at it. All right, so now I've got 2 envelopes ready to go. And I gotta find my other, there they are. Prints. Now these are the prints that I've already trimmed. And there should be one here with the edge. That's one. So you can put this on your paper trimmer and trim off your edges. I'm going to just do it with my scissors. Now, you may like that white border, that little white border. It's up to you. Me, not so much. Now, I may have to trim these more. I didn't really look at the pages I'm thinking about using. We're going to check that in a minute. Okay. So this is what I was talking about, having my pages be, the pages in a lot of digitals are pattern or design intensive. See, that's really intense. So if I wanted to fold this in half and use it as pages in my journal, like where would I journal there? I have to create a place to actually journal, which is fine. You could do that. But I don't know that I always want to do that. So in this particular case, I'm going to use, I've got 2 bundles here of pages that I have coffee stained. And I'm not sure which, I think this size is going to work best. This looks a little too wide. So I want to incorporate these plain pages with these bird pages. So I think these would make good pockets or cutouts or tuck spots that I can add to my plain pages. So certainly I could cut them to size and glue it on. I can make a pocket that way. Or I can make a pocket that I could put in maybe with some washi tape. But some of them say like this one. Those 2 birds are right like in the center. So if I fold this, now this measures with that little bit trimmed off, this measures 10 3/4 by 8 1/4. And my page, let's just take one of these off. Measures, I'm so bad at numbers, 6 inches by 8 1/4. So this is, I mean, this is spot on. This is perfect. But now I'm thinking maybe I want to make a pocket that looks like this to try to get both birds the center. See, if I cut it in half on this one, I might just get it, and I could glue it on there, or I could sew it on. You know, if you have a sewing machine, you could sew it on. That might be easier. And if this is going to be the first page, okay, so let's see. Just folding it a little bit and making a crease mark there. So if I put this on here, man, it's just almost perfect. Now, you also, maybe you've noticed that these pages are rounded. So that's something to think about. And I also want to think about when I open up the journal, I want to have a really nice, attractive first page. I'm going to get my little paper trimmer. I keep a small one by my desk. Use for little cuts. And I'm going to go right to that where I have that fold mark. Make sure I'm lined up and pray that I did it right. Pretty good. Pretty good. I think I like this guy on here better. Now, I think I need a little wiggle room. I think I'm going to trim a little bit off of the bottom. I don't measure. I kind of eyeball it because I'm terrible with measuring. But you might be good at measuring and you may like it, and that's terrific. I wish I were. I remember years ago, of course, in high school, teachers saying, you're going to need math when you graduate, get a job. Thinking, not the kind of job I want. I'm not going to need math. And then I, years later, tried to get a job in our township building as a secretary. And the test you had to take, there was a whole big section on math. Yeah, I didn't get that job. All right, so here I'm making a judgment call. I have a corner rounder that has two settings, 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. And I'm not sure what that looks like. Let's see. Let me do a test. Oh, I don't want to use that. Let me do a tester. This is the 1/4 inch. This is the 1/2 inch. I don't think I get it in there right or something. Mine never comes out right. Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch it is. Okay, so I just want to do the outside corners. I picked the wrong side. Golly sakes. You're not paying attention. I mean, I'm a loon. I'm an absolute loon. All right, I can bring that down. Might want to center that. I'm going to trim off a little bit more because, like I say, I'm anal about it, and I want it to be normal. So I'm going to take a little bit of that bend off. I hope I'm not driving you crazy. I hope you are getting the impression that no matter what your skill level, you can make something that's going to look really pretty. Because when this is done, it's going to be pretty. All right, let's try it again. 1/4 inch. I'm going to ink my edges, and I think I'm probably going to sew this on my sewing machine. I can pause my video and just put a stitch around. I think that would look cool. I also like to cut a little finger index up at the top. I'm not going to come down too deep. Just a little bit. And if you're doing something like this and you're thinking to yourself, but mine doesn't look like Lori's, well, just make sure that you have like some kind of coloring behind there. Or you might want to put another piece of paper or a piece of fabric, or you just don't want it to be on white, I don't think, because then it really stands out, which might be helpful when you're loading it in. But I think I'm going to stitch around that one. Okay. So now I can have a couple plain pages, I'm thinking. And so now this page might be, I want to look at the rest of the ones that I printed out. I want to see this might be the best one to fold in half because the birds are so far apart from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this one. I'm going to be daring. Just go ahead and fold. Now I'm going to go ahead and round my corners while I'm thinking of it. I'm leaving it folded, so round both of these at the same time. Sometimes it's a little hard to cut that. See now the inside of this paper, and I did write on this side, the inside of this paper is white. I'm not loving that. So I'm going to put some coffee dye, some coffee on this. And I want to crease this really well. And I don't know that I have, oh, maybe up here. I need a little piece of an eraser. It's a wonderful thing. You want something and you've got the supplies that you need right at your ready. Now, earlier today, I took some instant coffee, some hot water, and made a little coffee mixture. Now, I will keep this in my refrigerator when I'm not using it, but I brought it here to use it today. And I could really put that on my jelly plate and do like a really cool print. But I think I'm just going to paint this on today. So now let me grab a piece of, I use the backs of my napkins that I pulled apart that I use for collaging. I keep those backs and use them instead of using paper towels. So I'm going to just paint this on to just knock back that dark white color because it's just not going to go with the look of this book. Pop those out of the way. Now I can let this air dry. You could put it in your oven or you could iron it. I like to iron it. I don't know that I'll iron this one today, but I'm going to just put that aside to dry. And now I'm going to look at my other pages I have available and see what we want to do with those. This is going to be my pocket. Now this one's very different in color than the other ones that I chose to print. So this kind of goes with the envelopes that I printed that have that pinkish purplish, and this could really, I could make a pocket and that could be part of that page. But now I'm thinking maybe a bird might be nice. On this envelope, if I cut out a bird, to kind of bring it all together. Let's see. I could fold this one this way. Go corner those edges. And if you're wondering, this is the We Are Memory Keepers. I don't know if they call it a, no, I think the other thing's a crocodile. I think this is the corner rounder. I don't know what they call everything. I always flip it both ways, so I never get it right. So this could open this way. That will look pretty, right? And then we can put that envelope in there and make a pocket. So I think since I have this, we cut this one in half. I'm going to trim out this little bird and use him on that envelope. So I'm going to just trim him out. See if I can capture, and I could just go square and do a box and that would work. But I think I'm going to go right around him, try to just get him out, just himself. He looks like he's pretty easy to trim out. I'm going to try to capture that flower. I don't know about his feet. I'm like, he might lose his little toes there. We could use smaller scissors. In fact, I think I'll switch to smaller scissors here. I'm going to get in there and get his little tail feather. I'll try to keep his little toenails there. It's really cool because he's got script stamped all across the top of them. Cool, right? Now, this I can harvest this. This will work well for another pocket on one of the pages. And I still think I can use maybe this and certainly some of this. So those I'm going to keep. Now keep in mind, you may not always want to glue everything just down flat. Your journal to be interactive. So rather than just glue him down flat, I'm going to glue just this outer edge and then he can become a tuck spot. But before I do that, I'm going to take a little bit, because sometimes when you look at a book straight down, or you might pull this out and look at this envelope, sometimes that white edge of the paper really is like an eyesore. So just little extra things you can think about to change the look of your work. Just, take it up a little, not take it up a notch, as they say. Now, you may also want to put something behind him, like a piece of cloth or a piece of lace or some cheesecloth. Now, you may have noticed that I didn't cut out here. I'm not going to worry about that little tiny bit. I could take my X-Acto knife and get in there, but it's writing, there's writing and script behind it, so I'm just going to leave that alone. The other thing you might want to think about is, how you're using your envelope, depending on what size, what design you have on it. But I'm just going to put them on that way. Yeah. So I'm going to use a little bit of my Golden Matte Medium that I have in my little nozzle dispenser here, and I want to go to glue down his beak, because that's a little piece of paper that, as you're using the journal and opening and closing the pages, make sure you get his foot really well. I don't want that to pick up and bend or come off. Just a little tuck spot. And I've got my baby wipe here. So I press that down, catch any glue that leaks out the edge. So that'll work. Let that dry. So now we've got that here. Let's see. Oh, this is just about dry already. I could probably use my heat tool to put the rest of that up. Let's grab a couple more pages. All right. I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm going to pause my video so you don't have to listen to this noise. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I almost forgot to unpause. All right, so just a few more minutes here. I'm hoping to go live tonight, and I think I'll continue to work on this. But I would like to get this video uploaded before I do that. So I've got 2 pages here. Now, if your piece of paper that you've dyed or added a lot of liquid to still feels cool to the touch, it's still damp. It's not dry. So now I'm going to put that in like this. Now I have this plain page, and then I probably will add another page of the grid paper in there. But don't forget, most of us have stamps and things like that that we can use. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and probably treat this with my coffee mixture. And then on this blank page here, I'm going to create a little tuck spot with this little piece of paper that I had left over. Or better yet, I have a bigger piece. Let's see what this bigger piece might look like. Oh, that might be nice too, huh? That'll give me a bigger pocket. And then I could use this up here. So I think I want to trim this on an angle. I could do a rounded edge. That's an idea, isn't it? Let's think about that. We have this right here. Maybe I could just round that edge. Now I need a writing instrument. Let's do that. I see a little bit of a line there. Let's trim that off. I'm going to go ahead and ink that. Oh, I want to round this corner so it all works together. Make sure I get the right edge, the 1/4 inch edge. Ooh, just the bottom. I still see a little bit of a black line there. See, I don't like that. I'm going to trim that off. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this video. I am hoping to stream later this evening. This is Tuesday, January 7th, about 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to pop on. I think I'm going to continue to work on this, so I want to quickly get this video uploaded. And I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch around this, and then I'm going to attach this to make a tuck spot. And then I might put this over here. We'll just see, but I'm going to use this as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video as I continue to work on using my digital files and how I might use them. And then I'll have my live that I can upload as well as I continue to work on them and build this journal. I love doing this stuff. I hope you enjoy it too. If you do, leave me a comment. If you're working on something similar or you've got some ideas, I would love to hear from you. It would be great. And listen, if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you come aboard and be a member of my subbies, which is always cool for the content creator. We love our subbies. So hey, listen, like I always like to say, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. And I hope to see you later. If not later, maybe on the next stream or the next video. Take care. Bye bye for now.